things. I'm going to start off with a breakfast item, an omelet, and show you the proper technique for making a French omelet. And then we'll do some crepes, and then something for dinner. So let's start with the omelet. An omelet should be fluffy, an omelet should be unbrowned and beautifully done. And I'm going to show you how to do that. And it's a simple process. This is some clarified butter, but you can use whole butter from your refrigerator. Not much, maybe a tablespoon. Then the eggs, which I've already beaten. Now here's the important part, is to keep the eggs moving. Don't let them sit so they brown and they burn. Move that around until it solidifies. And I'll try and show you when I can what it looks like. But right now, just keep moving the eggs around, keeping the liquid moving. Almost there. Now I've gotten it to where it's a solid mass, but still wet on the top. So what we do then is flip them. But I'm not going to ask you to flip them. I'm going to ask you to take it off the heat and put a cover on it. And the steam and the residual heat is going to finish the omelet. I have my plate, just a moment or two to wait. Now I have a nice fluffy omelet. Turn it in half, and then put it right onto the plate. And what you have is a perfect French omelet. Now we'll do it one more time. Again, butter, and then this time I'll make a nice cheese omelet. And again, the eggs. And the important part, moving it around so that it doesn't burn. That's why it's difficult to get a fluffy omelet in a diner, because they use a flat top. They don't use pans like we do here for your brunches. So moving it around just till the bottom solidifies and most of the liquid is gone on top. That's about right. There it is. Once again, now I'm going to put the cheese in there, off the heat, cover. That's going to finish the egg cooking process, and it's going to melt the cheese as well. So we now have a plain omelet and our cheese omelet. Flip in half. Onto the plate. A little bit of bacon. And there's your breakfast. Now, what we're going to do is a little lunch, which I'm going to make for you crepes. And crepes are surprisingly easy. And if you imagine just a thin pancake, then what you have is a crepe. So we'll start with our liquid. And it's some milk, 3/4 of a cup. And then we're going to do just a half a cup of water with it. And then we're going to put in about 3 tablespoons of butter. And what this does is it gives it the fat content so that it can brown. Now I'm going to add the flour, and that's 1 cup. And then mix it, but don't overmix, because you don't want to create bubbles. Because air bubbles will perhaps make the crepe break. So I'm mixing it just till I get everything mixed up. Now you could pass it through a strainer afterwards if you have a lot of lumps. Me, I don't mind lumps, at least not too many. Now, this is going to be a dessert crepe, so I'm going to add a little bit of sugar, maybe a tablespoon, just to sweeten it up. And that's the batter. It's good to let it rest a bit. Even for an hour or so is fine. But we're going to do it now. So what I'm going to do is take my pan. And I'm just going to dab some butter. Not a lot. Especially with Teflon, you really don't need a lot. But just dab the butter. And then just a little bit of the batter. Now watch. Turn, 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 turn. Okay? And then back onto the heat. And that's going to start to separate from the sides. And that's how you know when it's done. Now I ordinarily use my fingers, but I won't because I want you to try and execute this. So let it cook for a few minutes. We want to brown it just a bit. We'll get that pan hot. It's good to have the pan. The pan has to be preheated. It has to be hot. Now we've started it. And again, a little bit of butter. Preheat a bit. This one I rushed somewhat. So we're going to leave that one. We're going to start over real quick. Don't even worry if that happens. It happens to the best of us and the worst of us. So again, a little bit of batter. Turning so that it's even. Then we'll let that cook. So now I know my pan is nice and hot. Let's do it this way. And you'll do it with a ladle. And if there's a little hole, you just can fill it with the spoon, just to level it out. Then we'll do it in a French presentation, which is we'll quarter it and make a nice triangle. And this one, I'm going to leave round. What we're going to do with that crepe, with this one here, you'll do 2, maybe 3 crepes, stack them nicely, and then what I'm going to do is just finish it with some fresh berries, fresh strawberries, and that's our crepe dinner, our crepe lunch. And then with this one, let's make a blitz. So I have my crepe here. I have right here cream cheese with a bit of sour cream. And if it's a sweet blintz, a little bit of sugar. So I'm going to fold it over once, then wrap and wrap to seal the sides, and then roll it. So now I have a little blintz. Finish it for color with a little bit of butter. Lay it into the pan. And just saute that a bit. Just give it a little color. And also helps to seal the bottom. So crepes can be savory. Instead of sweet cream cheese inside, you could put mushrooms and spinach and ricotta cheese. And then finish it with a little marinara, or some fresh sauteed tomatoes, garlic. What we'll do with this blintz here, now we've given it a bit of color, is finish it with a little bit of a blueberry compote that I made earlier today. And we have a cheese blintz with blueberries. And now for the final little instructional that I'm going to give you is how to turn a jarred sauce into your own sauce. And I'm going to step out of the camera for a minute and just get a pan. So, I have my saucepan. I have my jarred sauce. So first, a little bit of olive oil. Maybe 2-3 teaspoons. Now, tablespoon of garlic, chopped. Some chopped onion. We use Vidalia onions here. They're sweeter. So at the Osborn we use the Vidalias. Then I'm going to add some oregano and thyme. And I do this in the saute process so that it releases some of those flavors and gives it a bit of, I wouldn't say nutty, but a toasted flavor quality to it. That's good, it's sizzling. And you want to do the onions and the garlic just till they're translucent, just till they start becoming aromatic and fragrant. Once that happens, I'm going to add just a bit of red wine, about a half a cup. You can use the wine, you don't have to, but again, it kind of changes the jarred sauce into your own sauce. You'll look like you were on the kitchen for 3 hours. Now I'm going to take the jarred sauce into the garlic, onions, oregano, thyme, and red wine. And pour that in there. Mix it up. Bring it to a boil, and then turn it down to a simmer. And simmer it for about half hour, maybe less. But a good half hour, the longer you simmer a sauce, the better it becomes. They marry, the ingredients marry each other. They become one. So now, I have essentially created a semi-my own marinara sauce. Do I want to change that? Maybe I want to make a meat sauce. So I have some sauteed ground beef. which I sauteed again with onions, garlic, and the trick is a little bit of either tomato juice or water, and that makes it easy to break up that meat. So I'm going to go ahead and put in the ground beef. And after I sauteed the beef, I drained it a bit just to take off all that excess fat. So now, what I have is a meat sauce. And we'll show you what that looks like. And that is our meat sauce. So, we've given you a breakfast with the omelets, a lunch with the crepe or the blintz, and now a nice, easy, quick, but very delicious supper. I hope you enjoyed our first virtual show, and remember, wear masks, social distance, and wash your hands. We're getting close, but we're not done yet. Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Have a great day.